The damage is done, the snow and sleet have fallen, so the main event has passed us. We're just going to be in the freezer for a few days, and then we will break out of this with a transition event. So this video will be going over all of that. I am skipping the National Weather Service watches and warnings because everything does expire at 4 a.m. So by the time most of you are watching this, that will be past. And any of the alerts that are there, I don't anticipate a big concern about. So, quick recap of the snow and sleet storms. The combined snow and sleet totals were between 3 and 7 inches between Longview and SR 500 in Washington. South of SR 500 through the Portland metro area saw between 1 and 4 inches of combined sleet and snow. And then for the central and southern Willamette Valley, it traced to an inch of sleet, and for a few isolated areas, some snow mixed in. The cold air damming effect along the Coast Range did produce sleet rather than freezing rain for any of the areas west of I-5, but east of I-5 and south of the Marion-Linn County line, it was primarily freezing rain from what I have seen on traffic cameras and the National Weather Service's public information statements. Freezing rain totals along the coast were 1/2 inch to an inch, and the southern Willamette Valley anywhere from 1/4 inch to an inch, though some of the areas further west along the Coast Range did dodge the ice because of the sleet accumulation instead. For the daytime high temperatures in Portland, it was 18 degrees between the hours of sunrise and sunset. Now, the 21 degrees is going to go in the record books as the actual high temperature, but that occurred right around midnight. And also, as a sidebar, that 18-degree daytime high temperature is the coldest daytime high since 1989, and it's also the second coldest daytime high temperature in the month of January. The one that's going in the record books, however, is tied for the third coldest day in January. Salem, the daytime high was 21 degrees, Corvallis was 26 degrees, and Eugene, it was 27 degrees. So onto the snow accumulation recap. Of one thing that I would like to remind you about is when I forecasted the 4 to 9 inches, I did mention that if everything was snow, that is the most likely amount. Unfortunately, that did not happen, so I would like to explain why that happened. And no, it is not due to the low pressure system this time moving ashore any further north than what I expected, because that low pressure moved ashore right near Waldport, maybe just a few miles north. But the difference was that low pressure system was a little bit stronger than what I was anticipating, which along the western slopes of the Cascades especially, that increased the strength of the warm tongue and brought that up further into the Portland metro area as a result. So for example, here in Sherwood, we got about a inch to an inch and a quarter of sleet, though that is being affected by the east wind, so that does vary. You can safely multiply that by 4, given the snow to liquid ratio that I was expecting of about a 12-to-1, compared to the sleet to liquid ratio of 3-to-1, and that gives you the expected snowfall. So 4 to 5 inches would have been the widespread total if every area got snowfall rather than sleet mixed in, or mostly sleet in some of the areas further in this southern blue range. So onto the windstorm aspect of this. Why was this so damaging despite the peak gust of PDX being only 46 miles per hour? Because if that's our peak gust this winter, that's actually below average. Most of our trees are, however, used to more southerly winds, not easterly. In addition, the ground is also more saturated than normal due to the wet start to January, and it is combined with the super cold temperatures making branches and trunks less flexible. Other peak gusts that I have noticed at Crown Point, it hit 83 miles per hour. Most in the eastern metro area saw a peak gust from 45 to 55 miles per hour. The west metro, a little bit weaker, 35 to 45 miles per hour, and the rest of the valley and along the coast from 30 to 40 miles per hour. However, those winds were out of the north in the Willamette Valley. Now, to go over the inversions, I'm specifically going to go to Hoodoo Ski area, which had the most dramatic inversion that I saw. The base area is at 4,700 feet approximately there, and at 11:49 p.m. on Saturday, it was -2 degrees. At mid-mountain, which for full context, I don't actually know the exact location where that temperature is being read at. I want to say it is at the top of the Manzanita chair, though, which would be about 5,050 feet. It's a little bit colder at -7. But when you go all the way to the summit, it's 29 degrees. So a very significant inversion. The summit's at 5,700 feet. So it's rising over 35 degrees in just 650 feet. So that's pretty dramatic, and there's inversion present at other ski areas like Mount Hood Meadows that I have noticed. So earlier in the day, that inversion was a little bit lower in the Willamette Valley, between about 3,000 and 5,000 feet, but because the cold layer beneath was so strong and cold, that was able to change most of the rain back into ice pellets rather than freezing rain along the west side of the valley, plus any area north of I-5, rather than us suffering through freezing rain instead. So moving on to Tuesday's system, the setup for this, and I will go over this the next couple of days as this evolves, a different low pressure system will be traveling pretty much due east, very similar to this one, making landfall somewhere along the Olympic Peninsula and then traveling eastward through Washington. Eventually, it will curve down once it hits Idaho, but by then, all of its effects will be out of our area. Initially, it will bring cold easterly winds out of the Columbia River Gorge, again, recharging it a bit, but not as strong as what we have seen during the past 36 hours. But once that low pressure system gets past the Cascades, that will kill the easterly gradient, and southerly winds will take over in the Portland metro area. For areas in the rest of the Willamette Valley, I do expect that southerly winds to kick in far sooner. However, because those areas will primarily be experiencing southerly winds from the low spinning counterclockwise. However, once those winds hit the Chelan Mountains, it does tend to go up and then over the Portland metro area as that cold east wind funnels in, because colder air is more dense. So as a result, I am expecting more freezing rain than snow, though I can't rule out some snow. Any snow that would happen is pretty brief. Now, tomorrow, however, there would be a break in the easterly winds. I am still expecting gusts up to 30 miles per hour in the East Metro, 20 miles per hour elsewhere. The resurgence at this time, probably no more than 40 miles per hour, even in the East Metro area. Temperatures will also slowly rise on Sunday and Monday, but staying below 30 in most locations in the Willamette Valley. Eugene is a probable exception into that, though I don't think they get above freezing until Tuesday. So again, like I mentioned, transition event Tuesday to Wednesday. While this is more of a Portland-based event, it is possible that areas further south in the Willamette Valley can have brief periods of freezing rain as that cold air gets cycled out. So onto our timeline for Corvallis, and I'm expecting low temperatures tonight will be steady around 19 degrees, so most of you will wake up to temperatures in the upper teens or low 20s, and temperatures will rise to around 29 degrees for the daytime high temperature, before cooling back off to the low 20s or upper teens in some isolated areas. Now for the Portland area, I'm expecting temperatures pretty consistently around 17 tonight before rising back up to around 27 degrees and then cooling back down into the teens for most areas, though I do expect that some areas closer to the Columbia River Gorge may be slightly warmer because the easterly winds will not cool temperatures as much as they would be under calm winds in regards to low temperatures, but for high temperatures, they do keep the high temperatures lower than they otherwise would under calm winds. On to the 7-day forecast for Corvallis. I am expecting 29 degrees for the high temperature both on Sunday and Monday, with low temperatures around 20 degrees for each. On Tuesday, possible snow or freezing rain. A little bit more confident in freezing rain, but that gets mixed out very quickly, and temperatures will rise to above freezing on Tuesday before warming further above freezing Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, with the only dry day once we start the transition event being on Friday. Because this is primarily sleet rather than snow from the southern metro area down to Corvallis, it will take a longer time to thaw than it would if it was an inch of snow. So just an FYI with that. And then for the Portland metro area, 27 degrees for the high temperatures both on Sunday and Monday. On Monday, that would be a daily record cold high. I am anticipating a daily record cold low temperature early on Monday morning before the transition event kicks in on Tuesday, with freezing rain most likely with a chance of snow. And they're continuing till Wednesday. I would say around noon is when the eastern metro area starts to rise above freezing. The western metro area will probably be above freezing by sunrise. I will have more details on that, however, in the coming videos. Otherwise, temperatures will warm up to finally getting around 50 degrees on Saturday, with the only dry day that I am expecting currently on Friday as well. So that is it for this video. I will be watching this transition event very closely and will come out with updates in the coming days about said transition event. Otherwise, please stay safe out there and take care. Oh, and one more thing. If you do have any snow reports you want to add, please include them in the comments section below, because I would like to hear them. And then same if you want to put in any temperature reports as well, or any damage you may have experienced from the winds.